So it's just about 5 days to the World Trade Organization 10th Ministerial Conference that is going to be happening for the first time in sub-Saharan Africa. The African continent is rising and there's a youthful population, and so all eyes are focused on Africa. So it's going to be happening between the 15th and the 18th of December, which is about 5 days away, and it's expected to inject about 2.6 billion Kenya shillings into the economy, and Kenya is expecting about 7,000 delegates for this ministerial conference. Now let's just take a quick look at the WTO functions. One of the functions that they have, or one of their mandates, is to reduce barriers to international trade agreements and also increase market share with developing countries, many of which lie on the African continent. And also one of the other mandates is to ensure non-discriminatory policies, especially when it comes to free trade agreements, and also participation in global policy by seeking help from the IMF and World Bank, especially as and when some of the developing countries need it. And let's look at the 10th Ministerial Conference and what it's going to be focusing on. We expect that there's going to be an increase in export surplus as some of the talks that we are expecting to be held, and also adoption of dynamic policies for Africa that can ease trade with Africa and the West and Asia as well. And also expect pressure pressure on the developed countries from the developing countries to reduce on the subsidies to allow developing countries as well trade more. And if we look at the previous ministerial conference that happened in Bali, Indonesia, there was a Bali package that was adopted, and some of the issues that were in it were streamlining trade, boosting least developed countries' trade as well. And we also looked at a number of other issues in regard to the Bali, Indonesia package that also focused on reducing barriers through codification of rules on agriculture trade and agriculture subsidies that remain the largest point of contention on the African continent. And so agriculture and the World Trade Organization is key, especially knowing that most of the economies on the African continent are agrarian economies or agricultural economies. So we're looking forward to seeing developing countries as well propose reduced tariffs for agricultural products, and developed countries against export of larger quantity of agricultural products, among other issues that we are expecting to be discussed right there. The obstacles in creation of a free trade area in Africa. We're looking at high subsidies provided by the EU and the US to farmers as domestic price support, and so that is affecting developing countries in a way, and developed countries as well give direct export subsidies to their farmers, which makes it difficult. But also the developed countries have come up with issues regarding the fact that they cannot give reduced tariffs to developing countries, because what we see on the African continent is low cost of labor, and also a number of other advantages that the developing countries have over the developed countries. But we're expecting a number of issues to be discussed, but big on the agenda is going to be agriculture and trade, or reducing the barriers on trade across the African continent and easing the trade regimes that we're having on the continent.